Hey everyone, I'm David Serlin and I'm here at the Fantasy Strike booth. This is our fighting game we're showing the world.
So what's it like making a fighting game in 2017?
You know, it's tough because there's a lot of great options out there. I kind of wish we had made it earlier. But I think we can stand out from the crowd because we are doing something it's quite different from what's out there right now.
Talk about your game, like what makes it different from other fighters out there?
So there's a spectrum of complexity, and I don't really mean of the strategy, but just of how complex it is to even do the moves of a game or to even start playing it. On the far simple end, you've got something like dive kick, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's a 2-button game, no joystick. So it's very, very simple to do the move. It's so simple that people question whether that's even a fighting game. And then there's this very big gap, and then most fighting games, like almost everyone in 2017, is way at the other end. They're actually very complex, and I'm not hating on that at all. Like, I'm a former pro player. I was top 8 at Evo 3 times. I worked on Street Fighter. I know about, I love hardcore fighting games, but there's this big no man's land in the middle, and what we're trying to do is have a game where the complexity to learn it, to start playing it, is extremely low. Very easy to do the moves, to do the combos, but we're not sacrificing like the depth or strategy. Like, it's intended to be a tournament game played by people like me and other pros too. It's really for casuals and pros.
I was going to say the key to a great game is easy to pick up, hard to master.
Yeah, exactly. And so
most fighting games are not easy to pick up.
Right. I love fighting games, but easy to pick up is not not what they're about.
I mean, I'm still learning Capcom Infinite, and I'm a lifelong Versus player, and I'm still not understanding the mechanics in that game.
You know, I've played it as well, and I'm going to admit that I'm very bad at it. It's an interesting game, but it's hard to play.
So with your history as a top 8 Evo player, how did that help you develop your fighting game?
Well, it certainly helped being on both sides of the coin, because I was a developer that had to listen to the balanced concerns of players, but then I've also been a player. So it's hard to say a specific way that it helps. It's just my whole background is really caring about competitive games and their balance, and part of balance is making sure that different characters are fair against each other, right? But another part of it is, even if they were fair and you didn't have to worry about that, they still have to not be boring and shallow and all about one move or something. So there's a different type of balance to make sure the gameplay is interesting. And what I would like to just let your viewers know is that because it's easy to do the combos in our game, and because it's easy to execute what you want to do, it really shines a big spotlight on any problem with the game being too shallow. So for the last 30 months of development, if we have a problem there, it's so obvious and we're able to fix it. So it's actually easier for us to have a wider variety of strategy than it might be in a very difficult to play game where you might have to play it for months and months to even discover that it has something that's too good that ruins everything else.
Talk about the characters in your game and so how they play differently and that stuff.
Yeah, so there's 10 characters in our game in this build, and they're kind of like from a fantasy martial arts perspective. Our newest character that we announced yesterday, we revealed him yesterday for the first time, is Argagarg. He is a fish man, and he has water-based magic. He's got a really powerful poison attack where he can poison you, and then he wants to kind of stall. But he doesn't stall by just sitting there and doing nothing. He can summon a river and try to push you back and have fish jump out of the river. He can float around in a bubble. So he's a very thematic, interesting character. Another one is Lum, the gambling panda, and in our fiction, that's what pandas do. They all love gambling, and so he's the only character in our cast that is based on randomness or has anything to do with randomness. which is kind of a hot button thing in fighting games. But yeah, you can certainly do that wrong, like tripping in Brawl or something everyone hates. But Lum's deal is about summoning items that have a wide variety of uses, and he can't control what he gets, and so you have to really go with the flow and be just in the moment. Try to capitalize on that item, and some items can help the opponent, so you've got to kind of fight over that. He's got quite interesting gameplay, but we also have like a stone golem who's a grappling character, and a painter who is a very high energy rush down character. She can paint rainbows on the screen. So I could go on, but there's a wide variety, of play styles.
When does your game come out, and what platforms will it be on?
So Fantasy Strike is available right now today on Steam Early Access on Mac and PC. We're gonna later on transition to like real full Steam at the same time that we launch the PlayStation 4 version. And we don't have a date for that yet, so I can't really commit, but I'll say that we're shooting for this summer. And if it turns out that we are a little late, it would most likely be because of cross-platform network play. So it's very tricky to get right, but we're working on it. We're trying to make that work.
Any plans for a Nintendo Switch?
So I can't announce any more platforms. It's actually not like a big secret going on type of thing. It's more that we're a very small development team and we just only have the bandwidth to do what we're doing. But I would like to be on other platforms, and Nintendo Switch sounds awesome. I should point out, as many of our players have, the number of buttons on the Nintendo Switch is exactly the number that Fantasy Strike uses, so it's a perfect fit. So I hope that I can come back to you and announce it later or something.